Steven Bergwijn's first game for Tottenham. Tottenham 2, Manchester City 0, a tactical analysis. Before the video starts, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notified whenever we upload a video. Also check out my video tactically analysing Bruno Fernandes' first game for Manchester United in a 0-0 draw against Wolves, which will be linked in the eye above and in the description below. I've also linked some of my best videos in the description below, including a tactical game plan of how ATLETICO Madrid can beat Liverpool in the upcoming Champions League tie, as well as a tactical analysis of how Brendan Rodgers has transformed Leicester into a top 4 contending side, my 3-year plan for what Manchester United should do if their Saudi billionaire takeover is complete, and a tactical analysis video of both Diego Simeone's ATLETICO Madrid, as well as Antonio Conte's use of the 5-3-2 at Inter Milan this season. I will also be releasing a 3-part series looking at 3 potential managerial replacements for Solskjaer at Manchester United, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Going into the game, Mourinho set up his side in a 4-4-1-1 shape with Davinson Sanchez and Toby Alderweireld the centre-backs, Sergio Aurier and Tanganga the full-backs, Lo Celso and Harry Winks playing in a midfield double pivot with Bergwijn starting from the left, Son on the right and Ali playing in behind Lucas Moura. Pep used a 4-2-3-1 with Zinchenko and Walker the fullbacks, Otamendi and Fernandinho at centre-back, Rodri and Gundogan as a midfield double pivot with Kevin De Bruyne in front of them. Sterling played on the left, Mahrez was on the right and Aguero played up front. From the start of the game, City looked to dominate possession and Tottenham seemed content to sit deep in their narrow 4-4-2, which was expected. City used a 2-3-4-1 shape in possession with Zinchenko and Walker pushing up in line with the deep lying Rodri and Gundogan floating in between the lines and alongside Rodri himself. The positioning of the City fullbacks was interesting. As Gundogan moved ahead of Rodri, they would move infield to create a narrow 3 ahead of the 2 centre-backs, playing like inverted fullbacks. When the ball was switched over to their side, they would push wide to open up a passing lane for one of the centre-backs to play the pass into them. This was done in order to allow City to progress the ball through the centre of the pitch by positioning players either side of the Tottenham front 2, and therefore opening up a channel for the ball to be played into, which would then allow Walker and Zinchenko to move the ball forward. Sterling and Mahrez performed their usual role of stretching and pushing high up the pitch to pull the narrow Tottenham system apart. It was the positional aspect of the game where Lo Celso and especially Winks excelled. When City shifted the ball out wide to Sterling or Mahrez, De Bruyne would look to make an underlapping run into the space between the fullback and centre-back. When a reverse pass was played, particularly on the right side, De Bruyne is in prime position to whip in a low cross across the box or pull it back to the edge of the area. Both Tottenham's central midfielders were excellent at dropping deep when the fullback pushed up to confront the winger and tracking De Bruyne's underlapping run to stop the opportunity being created. This shows that closing down the half spaces in behind the midfield was a pivotal function of Mourinho's 4-4-2 defensive shape, and that he recognised that it was the area where City would look to funnel their attacks through. However, Aguero was causing problems for Tottenham, with Tottenham's central midfield dropping so far deep. Cautious about the space in behind them, this allowed Aguero to drop deep from the front line, receive the ball and turn and dribble at Winks and Lo Celso. This occurred as Tottenham's centre-backs were reluctant to follow Aguero into midfield and open up a space in the back line. This allowed Aguero to progress the attack forward with his dribbling and interplay with De Bruyne and Sterling. Mourinho used Bergwijn, Ali, Lucas and Son interchangeably, with Ali and Lucas shifting out wide and Son and Bergwijn finding themselves in central positions throughout the first half. Mourinho made this personnel rotation as City were leaving only Fernandinho and Otamendi along with Rodri back when they had the ball in Tottenham's defensive third. This meant that when Tottenham broke quickly, they could potentially feed the ball down the left channel and use Bergwijn and Son's pace to run in behind Fernandinho and isolate him in a one-on-one. Despite both Bergwijn and Son making these blindside runs, Fernandinho defended well in those one-on-one situations. Bergwijn before this was being used in a narrow left midfield position. He looked to move into the space between the central midfielder and winger, but he didn't look suited to the role. He looked far better playing high up the pitch and being able to make runs in behind the back line and get into dangerous wide positions. Up until the 60th minute, Tottenham were really riding their luck. They were unable to retain possession when they had won it back, as City were pressing effectively high up the pitch in a 4-4-2 shape, with De Bruyne pushing up alongside Aguero, and Rodri or Gundogan, depending on what side the play was on, would push up from midfield to man-to-man press Winks or Lo Celso. This meant that Tottenham were unable to play through the press as Winks and Lo Celso were sitting ducks when the ball went into them, as they would immediately find themselves under an aggressive press, which is where City were able to turn over possession a few times in the game. Tottenham weren't effective at launching counter-attacks either, this because Mourinho hadn't instructed his attacking players where to move specifically when Tottenham won the ball back, which meant that often Son and Ali wouldn't make movements deep when the midfield had the ball, which meant it was hard for Tottenham to transition the attack quickly. A team like RB Leipzig show how to do this effectively. When they win the ball back in their defensive third, immediately the wide players look to push up into the space in behind the opposition's central midfield, where they can receive a low pass from one of the central midfielders and therefore are in a great position in behind the midfield to progress the attack forward. Tottenham's forward players were all looking to make runs in behind and not looking to get into the half space enough, which meant that Tottenham's only way of moving the ball forward from back to front was from a long direct pass, which more often than not gave City the ball back. Mourinho was fortunate as Zinchenko's red card changed the dynamic of the game, and BERGWIJN'S goal soon after was a perfect sequence of events. It allowed Tottenham to sit deep and soak up the pressure without having to worry about pushing players forward excessively. City moved to a single pivot shape, with Gundogan pushing high up the pitch. Aguero was brought off for Cancelo, which was a strange decision, as while City did need width on the left flank. Without Aguero on the pitch, City lacked a presence in the box, which became evident when they got into the final third. And Dembele showed his creative ability for Son's goal, as he was able to dribble through the City midfield and play reverse pass through to Son, from where the Korean was able to blast the ball past Ederson. Mourinho was fortunate in how the events of the game panned out, with City missing big chances and Zinchenko's red card, but the use of the compact 4-4-2 was effective at stopping City progressing the ball into the final third, as often, and his instructions to Lo Celso and Winks in terms of tracking De Bruyne's runs were critical to their defensive plan. Bergwijn looks like a player who could be used as a winger or as a wide forward in a front two, and seems to have the pace, dribbling and finishing ability to potentially become a similar sort of player to Heung-min Son. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.